हेलो, ठीक। हम्म हम्म So you guys are studying newspaper ना? तो तुम्हारे पढ़ने की काम है, पढ़ते रहो एंड व्हाट एवर आर द डाउट्स कीप ऑन आस्किंग। चलो 2 मिनट तुम लोग कुछ पूछ लो। आई थिंक अभी लोग आ रहे हैं। सो सरफेसी एक्ट, आईबीसी कोड, फ्यूजिटिव इकोनॉमिक ऑफेंडर्स, दैट विल बी डूइंग इट सेपरेटली। मर्जिंग ऑफ बैंक्स का merger, any companies merger, what are the benefits? Not only banks, for any company, why companies merge, that will be discussing in supply chain. Vertical integration, horizontal integration, why companies merge, that is more of mains oriented topic. तो तुम्हारा डाउट है ना, डिस्कस कर देंगे। रिकैपिटलाइजेशन वी हैव डिस्कस ना, recapitalization of banks, Basel norms. So recapitalization bonds, who issues? Government or bank? Huh? Banks issue. Who issues recapitalization bonds? Who issues and who buys? Government issues and banks buy. क्या? Funds to the banks if the banks don't have enough liquidity.
Yeah. So, is there any specific number which RBI will provide?
No, as such not any specific number. I am just waiting for 2-3 more minutes, क्योंकि ऐसे तो जनरली द स्ट्रेंथ इज डबल। टाइम चेंज करने से हुआ मुझे लगता है। तो वॉट एवर वी हैव रेड टिल नाउ प्लीज रिवाइज इट, प्लीज, ठीक है? अदरवाइज so you all give this feedback to whomsoever is concerned. See, from tomorrow na, please come on time so that we can leave on time, right? 5:30 to 8 we will keep 2.5 hours, because after 8 थोड़ा लेट हो जाता है, ठीक है? सो विल कीप 5:30 to 8, तो 5:30 पे आप आ जाया करो। देखो, सबका साथ सबका विकास, ठीक है? आई डोंट हैव एनी इशू। अभी तो 6 घंटा क्यूपी में पढ़ा ही रहे थे, तो 6 घंटा माई स्ट्रेंथ हैज बीन बिल्ट अप टू 6 आवर्स, तो 6 आवर्स पढ़ा सकते हैं अभी, ठीक है, कंटिन्यूअस। बट आप समझो ना कि और लोगों का भी थोड़े कंस्टेंट होते हैं। इवन इफ 2.5 आवर्स अगर हम लोग पढ़ते हैं ना, तो रेगुलरली, नाउ द क्लास विल बी रेगुलरली, तो वो दिक्कत नहीं आएगी ऐसा। सो दोज हु हैव मिस्ड मंडेज क्लास, मैं जस्ट एक बता दूं कि फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट मीन्स एनी कंपनी रजिस्टर्ड आउटसाइड इन्वेस्टिंग मनी इन अ कंपनी रजिस्टर्ड इनसाइड, ठीक है? बस इतना आप ध्यान रखोगे, देन विल बी डूइंग दैट क्लास सेपरेटली। सो बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट, व्हाट इज देयर इन बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट? व्हाट इज बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट ऑल अबाउट? बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट आपने सुना है ना? So what does BOP mean? क्या होता है BOP में? See, balance of payment is nothing but, आ जाने दो, balance of payment is nothing but a record of transactions. It is just a record of transactions. Now, which transactions are recorded in BOP? You paid fees to Subra SR Private Limited. So this is a transaction between you and SR Private Limited. Will this transaction be recorded? No. Balance of payment is a record of transactions. So there are certain kind of transactions which are recorded in balance of payment. Who records? RBI records. The question is, what kind of transactions are recorded in balance of payment? There are a lot of transactions happening, but there are only certain specific transactions which we record in BOP. The question is, what kind of transactions are recorded in BOP? So any transaction which is happening between an Indian resident and a foreigner or NRI is recorded in balance of payment. Any transaction happening between an Indian resident and a foreigner or NRI is recorded in balance of payment. So Indian resident in the sense all Indians, even an Indian company is also an Indian resident. Suppose a foreign student came and he is studying in this program. So he made a payment to SR Private Limited. SR Private Limited is Indian resident. Indian resident means Indian resident human being or companies or Indian government. They are all Indian residents. And he is a foreigner. So there is a transaction between the foreigner and Indian resident. So this transaction will be recorded. So all the transactions happening between Indian residents and outsiders. Outsiders means NRIs, foreigners, will be recorded in balance of payment. And whatever transactions we record between Indian residents and outsiders, they are recorded in two parts. So balance of payment we divide into two parts. First is called current account and the second is called capital account. First is called current account and the second is called capital account. So whatever transactions happen between Indian residents and outsiders, it is recorded in balance of payment into two parts. Some are recorded in current account and some are recorded in capital account. So the question is, what kind of transactions are recorded in current account and what kind of transactions are recorded in capital account? You write a statement. One second. First you draw this diagram. So current account is again bifurcated into merchandise, means exports and imports of goods, and invisible. So current account again has two parts, merchandise and invisibles. Invisibles are again classified into three parts. और concentrate करके सुनते रहो. I will be asking questions also in this. Invisibles has three parts. First is called services, then आप इधर क्यों नहीं आ जाते कहीं? एक अकेले क्यों एक्सेप्शन क्रिएट कर रहे हो? आओ सामने एकदम आराम से दिखेगा. इधर चेयर कर लो, इधर कर लो. Services, factor income and then transfer payment. So invisibles has three parts. Services you understand. Factor income, one is called employee compensation. And the second is profit, dividend, interest. Gifts, grants, remittances. Employee compensation means employee salary. Capital account again has three parts. Foreign investment, loan, so we have two main components of BOP, current account and capital account, and then capital account is further segregated into three and current account is also segregated. Now you write a statement, BOP, balance of payment, systematically summarizes, balance of payment systematically summarizes, balance of payment systematically summarizes the economic transactions of a country. BOP systematically summarizes the economic transactions of a country with the rest of the world. BOP systematically summarizes the economic transactions of a country with the rest of the world, full stop. These are BOP systematically summarizes the economic transactions of a country with the rest of the world. With the rest of the world, full stop. These are transactions between the residents of a country. These are transactions between the residents of a country and the outside world. These are transactions between residents of a country and the outside world. Outside world. So we have divided all these transactions into current into capital. Generally in exam they will give you a transaction and then they will ask that whether it is current account or capital account. So how to segregate transactions into current account and capital account, that you should know. So for example, so how I have segregated these transactions, what is the basis of these transactions? Suppose I export something, and one more convention is there when, so this is India, whatever money is coming into, it is taken as if money, these are the transactions which are recorded between Indians and outsiders. So either money will come into India or it will go out of India, both are recorded. So when money comes into India, we take it as positive. And when it goes out of India, it is taken as negative. So when we export, when Indians export, it will be positive or negative? Positive, because money, when Indians are exporting, we are getting, this is the direction of money flowing. So money is coming into India, when we are exporting, it is positive. When we are importing, we are paying, so it is negative. Okay? So this should be the condition. If Indians, you are borrowing from abroad, positive, negative? Borrowing from abroad, positive, because when we are borrowing from abroad, money is coming. So this is the direction of money flow. When we are borrowing from abroad, money is coming into India, so it is taken as positive. तो जब करना होगा तब हम सोचेंगे. I am asking कि money is coming into India, we are borrowing. When we will be making repayment, then it will be negative. So if we borrowed 1000 crore, where it will come, current account or capital? Capital. How do we know whether it is current or capital? See, there is a simple way of segregation. If there is a transaction and if it is getting closed at that moment, then we keep it at current account. If it creates any future obligation or liability, then it is kept under capital account. For example, I exported something, I got money, transaction over. Is there any future obligation? No. But if I borrowed money, now this I borrowed money, money came into India, this transaction is creating a future obligation on me to repay. Okay. So it is related to liabilities, change in obligations or liabilities. So when I am borrowing money from abroad, it is creating a future obligation. It will come under capital account. And when I am borrowing to positive or negative? Positive. So suppose I borrowed 1000 crore. So positive under capital account. When I will be paying interest, my liabilities didn't change. Because I borrowed 1000 crore, my liability is still 1000 crore. Interest payment is not changing the liabilities. So when I will pay interest, it will come under factor income. When I will pay principal, it will come under again loan. So principal and interest, that will have to segregate. I borrowed 1000 crore, it will come here. When I will be paying interest, it will be under current account because it is not changing my obligations. Obligation is still 1000 crore. When I will be paying the principal amount, it will come here and positive or negative? Negative. Okay. For example, if you purchased shares of Microsoft, so positive or negative? Negative. Money is flowing out of it, negative. Current or capital? Capital, yes, because when you purchase shares, you got shares, now it is an obligation on that company that in future it will have to repay. It is a liability on the company, so company will repay. So when you purchase, suppose you purchase 5% shares. You paid money, that means negative, and this transaction created a future obligation on Microsoft because you are holding 5% shares. Now if company is making profit and company is paying you dividend, that dividend is not changing the liabilities of Microsoft. When you will be selling the shares, then it will be capital account, positive. But when you will be getting dividend, it will be current account. So interest and dividend come under current account, and whatever is the ownership or liability, that is under capital account. See, principal, whenever you borrow 1000 crore, you have to pay the principal amount plus whatever is the interest. So when you borrowed 1000 crore, what is the liability? 1000 crore. Every year you are paying interest, that is a separate part. So when you borrowed 1000 crore, when you are paying interest, your obligation didn't change. Obligation is still 1000 crore. When you will be paying the principal part also, then that principal part payment will come under capital account and interest part payment will come under current account. Whenever you take loan from bank and you pay EMI sune ho? Now in EMI there is some principal also, there is some interest also. So whatever principal amount you are paying, that come under capital account, interest that comes under current account. No. So this is accounting practice that we do. Whenever you borrow money, that is your obligation, 1000 crore, 2000 crore. Whatever interest is day-to-day expenditure that you will see in government budgeting also. Interest doesn't change your obligation. When you are getting a dividend, that doesn't reduces your ownership in the company. So that is called day-to-day obligations, day-to-day transactions, that doesn't change your starting obligation. So that is an accounting principle, we keep it under current account. Interest or dividend, current, and shares, whatever you purchased or whatever borrowed, that comes under capital account. Because try to understand, when you borrowed 1000 crore, so this borrowing will come under capital account because it is creating liability. Liability is 1000 crore, but yearly you will be paying interest. That comes under current account. ये norm है, it will be used in every accounting practice, so this you must understand. गवर्नमेंट बजटिंग में अगेन दिस थिंग इज, ठीक है, समझ गए? So now which transactions are recorded? Those which happen between Indian resident and NRIs or foreigners. So suppose India, US. There was an Indian here, he went to US. He went to US. So his family is still here and he went to US. Here he worked for a company, XYZ. He worked for a company XYZ. Now XYZ company paid to him and then he gave this money to his family in India. So this is one transaction, XYZ to this person and then this person to his family members. This is first transaction, this is second transaction. And suppose he has gone for 2 months. Achha, by the way, what transactions are recorded in balance of payment? All those transactions which happen between Indian residents and NRIs or foreigners. All those transactions which happen between Indian residents and NRIs or foreigners. Now NRIs are those who have gone abroad for more than 6 months. Now in this, which transaction will be recorded in balance of payment? First or second or both or none? देखो, see, this first transaction is between whom? Foreign entity and Indian resident. He is Indian resident or foreign? Indian resident. He has gone for 2 months. He is still Indian resident. So foreign entity, Indian resident. Will this transaction be recorded? Yes, it will be recorded in India's balance of payment. Indian resident. Will this be recorded? No, this will not be recorded. So this will be recorded. Now this will be recorded. Where it will be recorded? One will be recorded where? Current account. Yeah. We'll take that example. अभी वो 2 महीने के लिए. So it will be recorded in current account. Current account में where? When you work something and then you get, that is called employee compensation. And when you get something for free, that is called transfer payment. Okay. See, suppose you have land and you are earning rent. You have land and you are getting rent. So you are getting rent in return of something, na? So whenever you get something in return of something, then it is called factor income. Suppose I have some machine, I am getting interest. I have some land, I am getting rent. I am working, I am getting some wages. That is factor income. When we get something for free, that is transfer payment. So you said in this case that which transaction will be recorded? First. And first transaction will be recorded in current account, right? Because he worked and the company paid. Transaction closed, no obligation for future. So you said current account. Current account, where it should be recorded? Factor income, because the person worked and then he got paid. Clear hai? It is a factor income. Now if he went for 2 years, if he went for 2 years, that means he became NRI. Now which transaction will be recorded? First record hoga, nahi hoga? Nahi hoga, because foreign entity NRI, this will not be recorded. NRI and Indian, it will be recorded. So second will be recorded. Where it will be recorded? Last bench. Where it will be recorded? आप तो लेट आए हो, आपको ज्यादा भी क्लियर नहीं होगा. पीछे बैठ के रिलैक्स करते रहते हो आप लोग। हाँ, कहाँ पे आएगा बताओ? करंट अकाउंट में आएगा, वो तो ठीक है। करंट अकाउंट में वेयर कहाँ आएगा? ट्रांसफर पेमेंट में आएगा, बिकॉज दिस ट्रांजेक्शन इज फॉर फ्री, देयर फैमिली मेंबर्स डिडंट डू एनीथिंग, ही गेव दिस मनी फॉर फ्री, सो ट्रांसफर पेमेंट में आएगा। कोई डाउट है? और ट्रांसफर पेमेंट में इट विल कम अंडर रेमिटेंसेज। सी, ग्रांट्स आर यूज्ड एट कंट्री लेवल, गवर्नमेंट लेवल. So when government of India is giving free something to Nepal, it will come here. When someone is sending money, individuals, it is called remittance, and physical gifts are also counted here. So gifts, grants and remittance under transfer payment. Gifts generally, physical object we also call it. We also.
PM goes to another country and then some is being gifted something by the PM of that country, so वो किसमें count?
That will come under, as a PM, as a government servant he went, that will come under gifts only. सही है, ऐसे था. If NRIs are putting money here, NRIs, they deposit money here. Why they deposit money? Why NRIs keep money here? More interest. Here interest rate is more, 7%, 8%. US mein interest rate is 2%, 3%. That's why NRIs deposit money here in Indian bank accounts. So if NRIs are putting money here, will it be recorded? Yes. Soch lo. NRIs depositing, doing FD in Indian banks, will it be recorded? Yes. Because once they deposited, it is a transaction between NRIs and Indian entity, and it is creating an obligation on Indian banks to repay in future. So capital account. So in Indian banks will be paying interest, it will come here, and Indian bank will be paying the principal amount, it will under capital. So positive or negative when Indian banks are paying? Negative. Negative. Money is going out of India. So now any transaction you will be able to do.
Who records this transaction? According to RBI. Who records this transaction?
RBI, of course, RBI records. And IMF has given a guideline that which transaction will be recorded where. So all the IMF members record transactions as per the same standard practice. ये नहीं कि we will define certain other terminology. It is done as per the IMF standards, rules and regulations. So right now our current account is positive or negative? See, current account may when we are getting, see, in current account when we are exporting it is positive, when we are importing it becomes negative. So current account we have positive or negative right now? Negative hai. Negative means more money is flowing out of India, less money is coming into India, so it is negative. So why it is negative? In which case our imports are more. Our imports are more. That is why our current account is in deficit. Our imports are more, that is why current account is in deficit. But our remittance is quite high. Our remittance is quite high. But then a lot of foreign companies who have invested in India, they take a lot of profit out of India. It makes it again negative. A lot of companies who have invested here, they take profit out of India, so it becomes negative for India. So overall it is negative. Overall it is negative. What percentage of GDP? All over year का on average 2.5, 2% ऐसे होता है. What is our 2.5? to 2.5%, to 2.5% current account deficit. And capital account we have positive because more FDI we are receiving. So capital account is a positive and current account is negative. So forex reserve is stock or flow? Forex reserve is stock or flow? How many of you think is stock? Great. स्टॉक है, ठीक है. So suppose 31st March 2017 we had some 350 billion forex reserve. Now this was with RBI. From 1st April onwards, RBI is earning dollars also when you are exporting, and RBI is paying dollars also when you are importing. So on 31st March, RBI had some $350 billion. So when you will export, you get dollars, this dollar you give it to RBI, and RBI gives you rupees, so RBI's dollar increases, and when you import, it decreases. So suppose current account, total in 1 year, 17-18, you imported more, so that means it is negative minus $100 billion. You imported more. Capital account, suppose, so net it will be capital account plus current account is equal to plus. So after the end of the year, RBI will have how many dollars? $400. Right? So you write this example and then you write a statement. Current account plus capital account is equal to balance of payment. Current account is plus capital account is equal to balance of payment is equal to change in foreign exchange reserve. Current account plus capital account is equal to called balance of payment. That is also equal to change in forex reserve. So if current account plus capital account is positive, then your forex will increase, and if it is negative, your forex will decrease. If current account plus capital account we have positive, our forex reserve will increase. It's very simple as in the morning I had 100 rupees. In the morning I had 100 rupees in my pocket. In whole one day, if I spent 200 rupees, earned 250 rupees. So this 100 rupee will increase it to 150. If there was 100 rupees, I spent 100, earned 70. So 30 rupees extra I spent from where? From this pocket. So it's just like whatever is lying in pocket, and this is expenditure in one period. So if it is positive, then that will increase. If it is negative, that will decrease. समझ गए? So answer a question. How frequently this forex changes? How frequently the forex reserve of RBI changes? On every transaction, every moment. RBI may be publishing this figure on a weekly basis, but after every transaction it is changing. So RBI had $350 billion on 31st March midnight. On 1st April, she in the morning she exported something. She got dollar. This dollar it will come in. ठीक है? So every moment it is changing. We calculate it after some time. Weekly we publish this data. ठीक है? Then you write current account convertibility. Current account convertibility. You write, in India RBI allows. तो आप लोगों में से किसी ने इसमें से क्यूपी नहीं अटेंड किया है? नहीं, इस टाइम मतलब इकोनॉमी वाला क्यूपी. यू अटेंडेड दैट? तो फिर तो वही टॉपिक चल रहा है. इन इंडिया आरबीआई अलाउज full conversion of rupee. In India RBI allows full conversion of rupee into foreign currency. In India RBI allows full conversion of rupee into foreign currency and foreign currency into rupee. In India RBI allows full conversion of foreign currency into rupee and rupee into foreign currency at market rate. At market rate. Market rate means nominal exchange. In bracket you write nominal exchange rate. In India RBI allows full conversion of rupee into foreign currency and foreign currency into rupee at market rate means nominal exchange rate. For all transactions under current account. For all transactions under current account. Full stop. This is called rupee is fully convertible. Rupee is fully convertible at current account. This is called rupee is fully convertible at current account. Then you write capital account convertibility. In India RBI allows only limited oblique partial. In India RBI allows only limited oblique partial conversion of rupee into foreign currency. Rupee into foreign currency and foreign currency into rupee. In India RBI allows only limited or partial conversion of rupee into foreign currency and foreign currency into rupee for transactions under capital account. For transactions under capital account. Full stop. This is called rupee is partially convertible. rupee is partially convertible at capital account. Rupee is partially convertible at capital account. See, convertibility of rupee, it has two characteristics. So when I say that rupee is fully convertible at current account, that means if anyone wants to do transactions of current account type, then you require rupee to be converted into dollar or dollar to be converted into rupee. So RBI says that if you want to do current account transactions, we will convert all your rupee into dollar and dollar into rupee. At what rate? Market rate. So this is called rupee is fully convertible at current account. But if you want to do capital account transactions, RBI doesn't convert all your rupee into dollar. It will convert at market rate, but it will not convert all your rupee into dollar. For example, if you want to borrow money from abroad, then RBI will not convert all your dollar into rupee. So RBI has put restrictions. So capital account, RBI converts at market rate, but not all the currency. So if someone is saying that rupee is not fully convertible, it can be because not all the money is being converted, or it may be possible that all the money is being converted but not at the market rate. Not at the market rate. So capital account convertibility, it is right now only partial, because RBI converts only a limited amount of currency into rupee, into dollar, and dollar into rupee at market rate. So rupee is partially convertible at capital account. Why RBI has not allowed till now? The reason is even current account convertibility RBI allowed post 1993. Pre 1993, even rupee was not fully convertible at current account also. Post 1993, we allowed full current account convertibility. But capital account convertibility, it is still only partial. The reason is, suppose today some political developments happen, instability comes. Suppose Rahul Gandhi becomes PM, or any other kind of political instability. Then do you think that our current account transactions, immediately it will change? Do you think our current account transactions immediately change? No. Export import, do you think our export import will decline immediately? No. Do you think this invisibles may factor payment or profit interest dividend? No. Profit interest dividend is dependent on how much we have invested, how much we have borrowed. So that will also not change. So current account transactions are not that volatile as such. But if something here happens, war or tension with Pakistan, China, anything, then it may be possible that a lot of foreign investors, they sell their money here, FPI, and they will move to abroad. So when they will sell their business here, they will get rupee or dollar? Rupee. They will sell their business here, they will get rupee. This rupee they will give it to RBI, they will ask dollars. So our forex reserves will decline. So in a moment, billions of dollars can leave India, which is a capital account transactions. So we require that much of dollar to be given it to them. If India has huge external debt, so India means suppose government of India has huge debt. Now we need to pay in dollars. So what does, suppose government of India is also borrowing from abroad. Now government of India, what it does is, it has rupee, it is collecting rupee tax, and this rupee again it gives it to RBI, and RBI gives him dollar. So if RBI doesn't have dollar, Indian government won't be able to pay foreign debt in dollar terms. So until unless we have huge forex reserves, until unless our foreign debt, external debt is reduced, inflation is stable and less, then we can move to capital account convertibility. So Raghuram Rajan once said 2-3 years back that India can move to capital account convertibility in the next 5 to 10 years. Once all these things, fiscal deficit, external debt, inflation, forex reserves, they are all stable, and then we can move to capital account convertibility. Because capital account transactions can create too much of volatility. That is why we have restricted them till now. We have not allowed full. FDM, what about FPI? What about NRI deposits? What about ECB? Okay, so right now we have partial capital account convertibility.
So there are current
See, if political instability happens, why imports will increase? It will take time. It will take time. ऐसा नहीं कि if political instability happens, you will start consuming more oil or you will start consuming something more. If political instability happens, we are not able to do reforms, supply gets affected, then in a long time, then it will take time for exports to decline and we start importing. But immediately it will not create too much of fluctuations in the forex market. But capital account transactions, these capital account transactions are basically financial transactions. It can impact a lot. So suppose a lot of something happened here, for foreign portfolio investors rushed out, rupee will depreciate, inflation here will increase. Inflation here will increase, then exports will decline. It can impact a lot. Financial flows are more volatile as such. ठीक है? इन्फ्लेशन, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है, ध्यान से समझना आप लोग, ठीक है? Nominal interest rate, which is also called deposit rate, is equal to inflation plus real interest rate. ठीक है? So right now, what is the nominal interest rate? The nominal and real, this concept is clear. So when government increases your salary, suppose you are a government servant, government is increasing your salary, it increases your salary suppose 2%. So government increases your salary in nominal term or real term? जैसे आप सुनते होगे ना कि गवर्नमेंट अनाउंस दिस मच, जैसे दिस मच सैलरी, 7th पे कमीशन, दिस मच इंक्रीज. सो व्हेन गवर्नमेंट इज इंक्रीजिंग योर सैलरी, गवर्नमेंट इंक्रीजेज योर सैलरी इन नॉमिनल टर्म्स और रियल टर्म्स? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू थिंक नॉमिनल and how many of you think real? See, nominal means whatever is given in money terms, whatever is given in money terms, and if we remove the impact of inflation, then it is called real. So when government, suppose earlier your salary was 10 lakh, government increased your salary by 10%, so then government gives you 11 lakh. This is in nominal terms. In currency terms, government gives you 1 lakh more. Real means after subtracting inflation. So when government gives you salary, it doesn't say about anything about inflation. It says that we are increasing your salary 10% in nominal terms. So banks offer you interest rate. When you do FD, they give you return interest rate. That interest rate they offer in real or nominal? Last row. How many of you think nominal? Good. Nominal terms, because if you kept 100 rupees and bank is saying you that it will give 7%, so it gives you 100 plus 7. So nominal terms. How much is the real, that you need to calculate on your own. Right. Years में increase करते हैं. अच्छा, उसके बाद सैलरी, ईयरली सैलरी नहीं इंक्रीज होती? 3 days or 2 days back, government has hiked DA, ठीक है. So that government has hiked your salary. So, huh? Government has hiked how much DA announced government? 2%, 3%, 3%. So 3% government announced. So this 3% is real or nominal? It is nominal. Government, everyone gives nominal. So suppose this year how much fees you paid for the foundation batch? 60,000. Suppose now they say ki your fees is revised 10% increase. So 10% increase, they are talking about nominal or real? Nominal. We always talk about nominal this thing. You have to calculate that what is the inflation, what is the real. So nominal interest rate is equal to inflation plus real interest rate. What is the FD rate? Abhi kitna banks are offering you? 8.5. कौन सा बैंक दे रहा है यार? बताओ, वहीं कर देते हैं सारा FD. हाँ, 7.5. आपने 8.5 बोला, कहीं नहीं 8.5 मिल रहा है. मैंने सभी चेक कर लिया है. 7%, 7.5% we are getting. So 7% nominal interest rate or deposit rate we call. Inflation 2. एक आख महीने का है. ओवरऑल एनुअल इफ यू टेक ना, सो 4.5% प्लस, इसको ऐसे लिखते हैं 5% प्लस 2%. ठीक है, अप्रोक्सीमेटली. Of course. Inflation is the most important macroeconomic variable, macroeconomic parameter. It decides a lot of things. So this year fees was 60,000 and the next year fees is? Who told you? हाँ, किसने बताया? It has been increased 50% in nominal terms. हाँ, 50% in nominal terms I am saying. तो कितना हो गया? 90,000. तो जो 50% that is nominal increase. क्या दोबारा पढ़ने की सोच रहे थे? फिर क्यों टेंशन लेती है? Whenever we keep our prices way below the market rate, then the increment is quite high every year. Not basic. So 7%, 5% plus 2%. Because it's all about branding, products. ठीक है, वो हम लोग आगे मार्केटिंग में पढ़ेंगे ऐसे. So generally students look for two things, brands and price. Brands and price. So while taking here admission, what was your main concern, brand or price? So how many of you took here thinking more about the price factor? Raise your hands, it's also an economic question. चलो कोई नहीं, छोड़ो. Come here. और ध्यान से समझना, जिसको जो डाउट होगा प्लीज आस्क एट दैट इंस्टेंट ओनली. क्लास के बाहर ये मत करना कि सर ओवरऑल थोड़ा सा डाउट रह गया. ओवरऑल कुछ नहीं होता है यहाँ पे. ठीक है. सो 7% this percent. Now if inflation is increasing, suppose inflation is 5% and banks are giving you interest rate 5%, that means you are not gaining. You kept money 100 rupees, next year inflation increased by 5% and banks are also giving you 5%. That means did you benefit or not? You didn't benefit. So in this case, when banks are giving you 5%, inflation is also 5%, your real return 0. Your real return is 0. So this is a kind of return or profit to you. This is a kind of return or profit to you. If inflation will, so right now you deposit at 7%, inflation is around 4.55% and you are getting 2% real return. If inflation will increase, you will demand, if inflation increases, you will demand more deposit rate. This is a kind of constant thing. This is profit percentage. See, cost price plus some profit is selling price. When cost increases, selling price also increases, the profit margin may remain same. So this is a kind of margin. Generally, banks will give you 1%, 2% real return. So if inflation increases, they will increase this. If inflation decreases, they will reduce this. This may remain constant. This is profit margin kind of thing, real return. ठीक है, समझ रहे हो? So basically in UPA last 5 years back, this was 10% around. This was 8-9% and this was 1%, 1-2%. Now suppose right now the repo rate is, इसको इतना कर देते हैं, चलो आप लोग 7 लिख लियो, ठीक है, 7 doesn't matter, 7. A lot of banks are offering 6, 6.5 also, ठीक है. So RBI repo rate So repo rate 6.25%, banks deposit rate 7% in this. Now at this point of time, if suppose your economy started slowing down, so in case of slowdown, what you can say about inflation? Inflation will be high or less? Always apply your logic and build up the concepts. If the economy is slowing down, inflation will be more or less? Why less?
अगर इकोनॉमिक स्लो डाउन होगा तो इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी कम हो जाएगी.
Right.
एक्टिविटी कम होगी तो मनी का मतलब मनी सर्कुलेशन भी कम होगा तो इन्फ्लेशन अपने आप कम हो जाएगा. डिमांड सप्लाई सब कम हो जाएगी तो फिर
देखो, in case of slowdown or recession, why recession happens? Demand reduction. When demand reduces, we produce less output and then we say that economic recession or slowdown. Recession is led by lower demand. So if demand is decreasing and then we are reducing the output, inflation cannot be very high. If we reduce the output first, suppose demand didn't decrease, we reduce the output, it will lead to inflation. But if first demand decreased and then we are reducing the output, it will not lead to high inflation. So in case of recession, the inflation is less. It may be very less, it may be 0%, it may turn into negative, anything. So recession may generally, inflation is less because demand is less. ठीक है. So suppose the economy started slowing down. Growth started slowing down. So to pull the economy out of this slow growth process, what RBI will do? Repo rate reduce करेगा. If RBI will reduce the repo rate, money market rate, deposit rate lending will reduce, money will become cheaper, more businessmen will borrow and set up factories and growth will happen. So RBI reduce the repo rate and banks reduce their deposit rate and lending rate. So suppose RBI reduce the repo rate, banks reduce it to 5%, this is 3%, 2%. This may not change, this is margin basically, ठीक है. But still suppose money becomes cheaper here, but still there is no demand for money and price and economy is slowing down. Right? By reducing the repo rate, RBI made the lending rate cheaper, but it may be possible that a lot of businessmen are not willing to borrow even at cheaper interest rate. Why? The demand in the economy is less. So then RBI will further reduce the repo rate. Banks will further reduce their deposit rate, suppose they did it to 3%, 1%. And if the economy is slowing down, inflation will come down. That you have already understood. Suppose economy is further moving to slow down. So till what level RBI can reduce the repo rate? 0%. Almost 0%. At that point of time, bank's deposit rate also touches almost 0. And what should I write here? Maybe minus 2%. Plus 2. Inflation has turned negative, prices have started decreasing. Now, even if at this point of time also suppose economy is moving into recession, can RBI further increase the money supply? Can RBI further increase the money supply? No, because now repo rate has touched 0, now it cannot further decrease, money supply cannot be increased, liquidity cannot be increased in the economy. So, we at this point of time we say that the RBI's repo rate tool has failed. Now, it cannot further increase the liquidity in the economy, RBI's tool has failed. At this point of time, government may come into action. Then government will start spending money, giving subsidies, construction road and this. But at this point of time when repo rate becomes 0, now this repo rate cannot further be reduced. So, we say that RBI's monetary policy tool repo rate fails. Now, further liquidity in the economy cannot be increased, further money cannot be increased. So, this is called liquidity trap. Inflation में under subtopics है, this is called liquidity trap. Now you write this example and then you write some statement. इसमें किसी को डाउट है तो पूछ लो आप. For example, US and some European countries, post 2008, they entered into liquidity trap. They entered into liquidity trap. See, India is here. Most of the developed economies, they are here. So, whenever the economy slows down, they reduce the repo rate, they immediately fall into liquidity trap. But we are here. So, if the economy is slowing down, RBI may reduce the repo rate and we can pick up it from here.
Not to be part of this trap, that's why our RBI said 2 to 6% of inflation is good for economy.
See, everyone, that we will understand after some, in today's class only, wait for some time. Okay. You write a statement. Catches risk.
During recession, inflation goes down. So, सर जैसे 1929 वाला crisis हुआ,
हाँ, depression.
जर्मनी के साथ देखा जो हुआ था, तो
जर्मनी का उसमें तो प्राइसेस इंक्रीज अलॉट, वो दूसरा केस था, दैट विल डिस्कस. जर्मनी में प्राइसेस इंक्रीज अलॉट 1 लाख टाइम्स.
जो अभी वेनेजुएला में हो रहा है,
दैट इज नॉट दिस, वो डिस्कस करेंगे अभी. वो
डिप्रेशन और रिसेशन में फर्क, इकोनॉमिक डिप्रेशन और
देखो डिप्रेशन का आई सेड ना कि 2 consecutive quarters तो रिसेशन है, एंड इफ इट गोज 2 डाउन इट इज कॉल्ड डिप्रेशन. तो डिप्रेशन का सच टेक्निकल डेफिनेशन नहीं है, ठीक है. एंड डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज विथ वेनेजुएलन क्राइसिस, विद दिस वी विल डिस्कस दैट कि वेनेजुएला में क्या सिचुएशन है, ठीक है. You write a statement, if the economy is slowing down, if the economy is slowing down, bracket में recession you can write. See, we generally say economy is slowing down means growth slow down. Recession means GDP decreases. ठीक है. You can take any condition. If the economy is slowing down or recession, then to pull the economy out of, then to pull the economy out of this situation, RBI reduces the repo rate. Then to pull the economy out of this situation, RBI reduces the repo rate. Full stop. When RBI reduces the repo rate, banks reduce their deposit rate and lending rate. Banks reduce their deposit rate and lending rate. Full stop. Even at the reduced lending rate, if there is no demand for money, क्या हो रहा है? If there is even at the reduced lending rate, even at the reduced lending rate, if there is no demand for money, that means economy is still slowing down. That means आप अंडर ये स्टेटमेंट समझ रहे हो ना? Even after the reduced lending rate, if there is no demand, lending rate reduced हो गया, but still no one is borrowing money, demanding money. So even after the reduced lending rate, if there is no demand for money and the economy is slowing down, RBI will further reduce the repo rate. RBI will further reduce the repo rate. And banks will reduce their deposit rate and lending rate. And banks will reduce their deposit rate and lending rate. Even if the economy is slowing down, then RBI will keep on reducing. Even if the economy is slowing down, RBI will keep on reducing the repo rate till it touches zero. Even if the economy is slowing down, RBI will keep on reducing the repo rate till it touches to 0%. ठीक है? At this point of time, banks deposit rate and lending rate also touches almost zero. At this point of time, banks deposit rate and lending rate also touches almost zero. Full stop. This situation is called liquidity trap. This situation is called liquidity trap. एक सेकेंड, this situation is called liquidity trap as further money in the economy cannot be increased. As further money supply in the economy cannot be increased. And RBI's repo rate tool has failed. And further money supply cannot be increased in the economy and RBI's repo rate tool has failed. ठीक है? Below zero it cannot be increased. हाँ. RBI can issue securities? नहीं, will come to that point. आप पूछो doubt. चलो आप ही पूछ लो. भाई slowdown means your output growth is slowing down. Recession means GDP decreasing. GDP and output are same terms. Slowdown means your every year जो growth है, that growth is slowing down. So post demonetization, did India face recession or slowdown? Growth slowdown face किया. Recession means GDP itself decreased. मैंने लिखा है इधर स्लो डाउन और रिसेशन डजंट मैटर, इन बोथ द केसेस आरबीआई रिड्यूसेस द रेपो रेट. डाउट क्या है? नहीं, इकोनॉमिक स्लो डाउन को मैं रिसेशन नहीं कह रहा हूं. आई एम सेइंग कि इधर स्लो डाउन और रिसेशन, इन बोथ द केसेस आरबीआई विल ट्राई टू पुल द ग्रोथ और मूव द इकोनॉमी आउट ऑफ रिसेशन. हाँ बोलो. Of course, we have studied ना. हाँ, नेगेटिव हो गया. तो रिवाइज करके आना. हाँ, आरबीआई के पास हाँ, but this tool repo rate, we say कि See, all over the world now, the most important tool which is being used to increase or decrease the money supply is the repo rate tool. You cannot reduce CRR or SLR beyond a certain level. This is the most important tool. When this tool fails, it touches 0%. We say that ki it is liquidity trap. Of course, you can use certain other tools, but there are limitations. So when this repo rate touches 0, we call it at liquidity, because this tool fails. That situation is called liquidity trap.
Sir, under normal conditions, if the demand is same or increasing,
If the demand is increasing,
or same under normal conditions, if RBI reduces the repo rate, then inflation will increase.
right, true.
It is a special situation.
It is a special situation. Demand is slowing down, growth is slowing down. That is why RBI is reducing the repo rate. India में growth slow down हुआ, recession we have not faced. Huge 128 crore demand. We faced growth slow down. कई बार growth slow down we have faced several times. नहीं वो रिवाइज करके आना तुरंत, अभी क्यों क्लैरिफाई करने की जरूरत है? रिसेशन और डिप्रेशन में मैंने बताया कि क्या होता है, आप रिवाइज करके आना एंड देन यू आस्क सॉर्ट आउट। और कोई? तो लिक्विडिटी ट्रैप, अच्छा रुको थोड़ा रुक जाओ, देन विल आस्क दिस क्वेश्चन। So Western European countries, US, they faced liquidity trap situation post 2008 financial crisis. Inflation तो आप लोग समझते ही हो, increase in prices, reduction in purchasing power is called inflation. Types of inflation. This is called बाहर आ जाओ रिसेशन से। ये आई एम राइटिंग प्राइसेस, रिसेशन इज अबाउट रियल आउटपुट, रिसेशन इज अबाउट रियल आउटपुट, और यहां मैं प्राइस लिख रहा हूं। दिस इज फर्स्ट इज द केस ऑफ डिफ्लेशन एंड सेकेंड इज द केस ऑफ disinflation. Deflation means prices are decreasing, and disinflation means price increases but inflation decreases and it is positive. So disinflation means there is inflation, prices are increasing, but this inflation starts decreasing. This inflation starts decreasing. In the last 5 years, एक स्टेटमेंट बता रहा हूं, you have to tell true or false. In the last 5 years, India has faced deflation. False. India has faced disinflation. Inflation has decreased from 11-12% to 2-3%. So disinflation में there is inflation, but inflation is decreasing, and deflation में prices decrease, inflation turns negative. So this is not a category of inflation. Inflation we say prices are increasing, that is called inflation. Prices are increasing, it is called inflation. If price goes below, if price starts decreasing, then it is called deflation. Then it is called deflation. See, again I am saying types of inflation में we don't consider deflation. Deflation is not a type of inflation, because inflation prices increase and it is positive. I have written deflation for certain reason, but this is not considered as a type of inflation. So there are three types of inflation. Disinflation is a kind of inflation. Disinflation is a kind of inflation. Why I have not written disinflation here, that I also tell. Okay. So we have one category when the prices are decreasing, that is called deflation. That is not a category of inflation. When there is inflation is positive, it can be low inflation, galloping inflation, or hyperinflation. Now the thing is, only first one, low inflation, is good for economic growth. Deflation is bad for economic growth. This is bad for economic growth. This is bad for economic. And this 200 is not a very sacrosanct figure. It can be 250, 300%. It's a general demarcation. So I said that deflation is bad, galloping, hyper, all are bad. Only low inflation is good for economic growth. So let's understand this. Why deflation is bad for economic growth? Demand is? Who said that demand is less? My question is, I am not saying any other thing, I am saying if prices are decreasing, if what is given to you, prices are decreasing. So if prices are decreasing, why it will hurt economic growth? Production? Why? कौन का lack of demand है? I am saying that there is one statement given, prices in the economy is decreasing. If prices decreases, ठीक है, I am saying कि economic growth slows down. If price charge की economic growth, what is the link? हाँ? अच्छा, if prices decreases, then purchasing power reduces, or when prices increases, then purchasing power reduces. और कोई कुछ बोल रहा था ना आप लोग? Why? Why they will not will? Tell. They will not get profit. So prices are decreasing, so cost of production is also decreasing, and final product price is also decreasing. Why you are saying that they will not get profit? Prices are decreasing means everything price is decreasing, na? So cost of production will also decrease, revenue will also decrease, so there can be some profit. Why? क्या डिमांड? कौन बोला? क्यों? Why? I said prices are decreasing, it will hurt economic growth. You are saying demand will decrease. Why? देखो ये लिंक करना आप सीख लो. Don't try to jump on the answer, otherwise you will आप आंसर नहीं कर पाओगे ढंग से. एक्सपोर्ट भी ला दिए. सुनो सुनो सुनो. If prices are decreasing, अच्छा, right now real estate sector prices are increasing or stagnant? Stagnant almost. Stagnant almost. Prices was increasing in 2000 decade a lot. Okay. So when in 2000 decade prices was increasing, everyone was purchasing houses, and now it has stagnated. Somewhere it has decreased also. Now people are not purchasing. And real estate sector has slowed down. When prices starts decreasing in the economy, people postpone their purchase decisions except of basic consumption items. When prices in the economy starts decreasing, people postpone purchase decisions. Postpone means I have to purchase mobile phone suppose today. Now I know that price will decrease tomorrow. So I will wait for tomorrow. When tomorrow comes, I am saying prices are decreasing. Again, prices are decreasing. So it's a continuous process. When prices are decreasing, I may not be, except basic consumption items, I may not be willing to purchase because then I wait, that price will further decrease. So this wait, postponement of purchase decisions reduces the demand, and then supply also gets reduced, and we say that economic growth is getting hurt. So whenever price in the economy starts decreasing, people postpone their purchase decisions, businessmen postpone their investment decisions, demand decreases, economy slows down. So deflation is bad for economic growth. Ye likh lena. Deflation is bad for economic growth, and that is why we have tried for 2 to 6%. Deflation is bad for economic growth because it reduces demand, and why demand gets reduced in case of deflation? The reason is people start postponing their purchase decisions. ठीक है? Now come here. So you just saw that formula that when the inflation was 5%, bank is giving you deposit rate 7% and your real return is 2% around. How much maximum deposit rate you have seen in the banks? Deposit rate maximum कितना सुना है?
7.5.
हाँ? Maximum उतना ही deposit rate? How much maximum FD rate you have heard of in the economy? 9%, 10% तक मैंने 10% तक मैंने सुना है, ठीक है? 10%, maybe 10.5%, 10%. Why not more than that? Why not more than? Just suppose, just think about. Suppose inflation is 20%. Inflation is 20%. Then do you think that bank will give you deposit rate 22%? या दे सकते हैं? If inflation is 20%, now you will not keep money in the bank below 20% rate. ठीक है? So if inflation is 20%, do you think that bank will give you 22%? Last bench? दे सकते नहीं दे सकते? इतना मैं क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा कि आप अगले दिन से फर्स्ट बेंच पे बैठोगे। दे सकते नहीं दे सकते हैं? बताइए। मे बी I'm asking you कि suppose inflation increases to 20%, do you think that banks will give you or not?
Yes.
No, नहीं देते, because inflation has in India touched 17%, 18%. Banks don't give you. हो जाने दो, बैंक ने ठेका ले रखा है क्या आपका? Beyond certain level ना, they will not give you. Beyond certain level, they will not give you whether you put money in bank or not. That is why you have heard maximum 10%, 11%. Inflation has touched 18%, 19%. So Venezuela में inflation is around
200.
अभी कुछ दिन पहले आया था 1 lakh%, कितना 1 million%. So 1 million% inflation, or suppose आप ही कमा लेते हैं 200%. So do you think कि Venezuelan banks are offering you 202% in deposit? Deposit? नहीं possible. So why they don't give? So when inflation is 200%, why banks don't give deposit rate 202%? Okay, so why not you इन्फ्लेशन 200%, डिपॉजिट रेट 202%, लेंडिंग रेट 204%, क्या प्रॉब्लम? लेगा कौन 204%? अच्छा, ओके. सो लिसन केयरफुली. सपोज इन्फ्लेशन 4%, डिपॉजिट रेट 6% इन इंडिया, लेंडिंग रेट 8%. ठीक है, क्वाइट प्रॉब्लम. इन्फ्लेशन 4%, डिपॉजिट रेट 6%, लेंडिंग रेट 8%. So inflation is 200%, deposit rate 202% and lending rate 204%. क्या प्रॉब्लम है?
सर वो रेट से नहीं मतलब ना, मतलब ओवरऑल जितना देना पड़ेगा दैट विल, मतलब परसेंट में अगर आप इंक्रीज करो तो
So if the prices in the economy is increasing at 200%, prices in the economy is increasing at 200%, so companies profit will also increase to that level. So what's the problem? See, there is a characteristic of this inflation. Yes, sir, right now inflation is 4%, and then I ask you a question. RBI carries out that survey, na, inflation expectation survey. ठीक है, RBI does a survey inflation. So RBI asks to the public that what do you think, what will be the inflation in the next year. So suppose right now inflation is 4%, and then I take this survey and I ask you guys that what do you think, what will be the inflation next year. So what do you think? 2.2 बड़ा, चलो ठीक है. Anyone else? 3% आपको लगता है? आपको क्या लगता है? 2%. लास्ट बेंच. इसमें सही आंसर नहीं बताना है, ठीक है, कि हमें नहीं आता है. यू जस्ट नीड टू टेल कि आपको क्या फील होता है, क्या लगता है. अरे हाँ, 2%, 4%, 2%, 4 to 5%. चलो ठीक है, आप लोग चलो. सो राइट नाउ इन्फ्लेशन इज 4% एंड ऑल ऑफ यू सेड दैट 2 to 5%, 2 to 6%, राइट? यही बोले आप लोग ना, 2, 3%, 4%, 5%. अच्छा, नाउ जस्ट अज्यूम दैट इन्फ्लेशन इज 200% इन इंडिया. Just assume that inflation is 200% in India, and then I ask you the same question. Suppose inflation is 200%, and then I ask you the, just assume कर लो कि इंडिया में प्राइस है increasing by 20% like Venezuela, and then I ask you the same question. That means I do the same survey again. Then what do you think? What will be the inflation next year? 400 to 600. Okay. Around 50%.
मतलब जो भी रेंज
वो तो ठीक है, बट व्हाट डू यू थिंक? नहीं कुछ कर सकते. गुड, कोई बात नहीं. हंड्रेड 100%. हाँ, पर तेज बोलो. 50 to 100. आपको क्या लगता है? 2%. अच्छा, देखो, there is a characteristic of inflation. When it is in single digit, it is quite easy to predict कि what will be the inflation in the future. It is quite easy to predict. With very high level of probability, you can predict that what will be the inflation next year. But when it goes in double digit, triple digit, it is very, very difficult to predict. It can be anything. If it is 200% today, it can be next day, it can be 1000%, it can come down to 20%, anything. You can't predict just. When inflation goes in double digit, triple digit, no one can predict. It becomes highly volatile. So when inflation is in single digit, volatility is very less. Anyone can predict. But when it goes in double digit, triple digit, it becomes highly volatile and no one can predict as such. This is the characteristic of inflation. Now try to understand one thing. If inflation is 200%, banks suppose offered you 202% deposit rate and they lent at 204%. So if the companies borrowed at 204% and after some time inflation comes down to 20%, Now they need to pay 204%. If inflation comes down to 20%, prices in the economy will increase by 20%, revenues will increase by that, they will never be able to repay. Will they be able to repay? No. That's why they don't borrow at 200%. Suppose someone says that it will keep on increasing like that, 200% ही रहेगा हमेशा, then they may borrow. But you try to understand that when the inflation is in 200%, they are not sure that it will be 400% or 20%. It becomes highly rare. So they are not willing to borrow. When they are not willing to borrow, banks is not willing to give you 2% in deposit. So banks give you deposit rate higher than the inflation rate only if the inflation is in single digit. When it crosses in double digit, banks don't offer you deposit rate higher than the inflation. Because uske baad they are not able to lend, nobody is willing to borrow. And when nobody is willing to borrow at higher rate, they will never offer you a deposit rate higher. So only in this case, banks are willing to offer you deposit rate higher than the inflation rate. In this rate, they don't offer you deposit rate higher than the inflation rate. In this rate, you don't keep money in bank. You don't keep money in bank. Savings reduces. Here, savings increases, it promotes investment. पहले प्रॉब्लम तो क्रिएट कर लेने दो. So in case of only low inflation, banks offer you deposit rate higher than the inflation rate. People are willing to keep money in banks. Savings increases, investment increases. Other logic क्या है? Come to that. Now, economic activity means production business. It happens generally जो large scale production होता है, businessmen sign long term contracts for either purchase of raw materials or supply of finished goods. Now suppose there is a toothpaste company or steel company, they purchase coal daily in Old Rajendranagar market or long term contract है ना कि डेली परचेज करेंगे कोल. They sign long term contract to purchase coal to produce steel. Now suppose the price of coal right now is approximately 10-12 rupees per quintal kg. पोटैटो बना दिया इसको. हाँ 600 rupees per ton. तो बोलते 0.6 rupees per kg, around 2 rupees per kg. ठीक. So right now suppose inflation is certain 3-4%, 5%. Suppose price is rupees 3 per kg, coal price. Now how these long term contracts, business contracts are signed? I am a steel company, he is a coal company. So I sign a contract that this year I will be purchasing 1 ton coal and I will be paying rupees 3 per kg. Next year onwards, for the next 10 years, I will be increasing the price by rupees 3 plus the CPI or WPI published by the country. So every year I will increase the price by the inflation index published by the government. It can be CPI, it can be WPI, it can be CPI plus WPI, anything. The price that all the business contracts, long-term contracts are written linking with inflation index. So basically your rent agreement, long-term agreement, it should not be just fixed at 10%. You should ask your owners to write this year rent is 20,000, next year it should be increased by 20,000 plus CPI or WPI or by 2 as published by the country. Logical है? हाँ. But they have assumed it 10%. ठीक है, चेंज नहीं करते हैं. यूपीए टाइम में इन्फ्लेशन 10% था, they were writing 10%, चलो acceptable है. Now when inflation is 3%, 4%, they are still increasing your rent by 10%. Totally not justified. So you should argue with it. So when I was signing for my own institute this agreement, rent agreement, so in the draft he wrote 10%. I asked why 10%? He said कि होता है ऐसा ही. हम बोले 10 कहाँ से आया, वाई नॉट 12 और वाई नॉट 8? तो ऐसा ही होता हमारे यहाँ 10%। हम लोग कुछ तो लॉजिक होगा ना 10% का, ना आप 12% क्यों नहीं रख रहे हो? तो बोलता ठीक है आप बताइए 12% रखते हैं। बोले so I tried to explain him to a certain extent. Somehow I convinced him and he brought it down to 7%. ठीक है, but you try to understand all these business contracts are written with linked with inflation. पूरी business economy ऐसी चलती है. आप लोग पोटैटो ऑल राइंदा में डेली खरीदते होगे, but business contracts it happens like this. Now when the inflation is in single digit, businessmen are willing to sign long term contracts. And when we sign long term contracts, the steel company sign long term contract with coal mining company. Then coal mining company knows that there is some buyer for that product. So coal mining company invests into mine infrastructure, it will purchase equipment, it further promotes economic activity. If inflation is 200%, I don't sign this agreement. If inflation is 200%, I don't sign this agreement, then I try to purchase coal in the daily market or weekly market. So when the inflation is very high, the business people don't sign long-term agreements. It hurts investment. Now the coal mining company is not assured that someone will buy or not. They are not willing to invest in mine infrastructure or equipment or further orders. So when the inflation is in single digit, businessmen are willing to sign long-term contracts. It promotes investments. When the inflation is in single digit, banks are willing to give you deposit rate higher than the inflation rate, and you are willing to keep money in banks. Savings increases, investments increases. When the inflation is in this range, banks don't offer you deposit rate and higher than the inflation rate. Savings in the bank declines, investment declines. ठीक है? And when the prices are increasing to a certain extent, singly, then only businessmen are willing to set up business. When the prices are decreasing, they are not. The reason is, try to understand. I as a businessman, I spend first in creating that setup and then I earn revenues. If the prices are decreasing, my expenditure is of today's price, and when I will be earning the revenues, the price will be further less. Businessmen first they spend and then they start earning. In case of prices are decreasing, my expenditure is of today's level and revenues are after 2-3 years. So my revenue generally is less than what I spent. When prices increase, I spend today, I earn at a higher price. So when prices are increasing, businessmen are willing to invest. They are willing to set up factories. Oil and gas prices started declining after Modi ji came to power in May 2014. After that, before that it was more than $100 per barrel. After that it started declining, it came to $40 per barrel. Oil and gas investment declined. When prices start decreasing, they are not going to set up all these oil rigs at a time, because if they will spend today and the prices of oil are decreasing, they won't be able to recover that expenditure. Okay? So this is the inflation which we target for. Maybe some country can keep 7%, 8%, 6%, nothing. Single digit is good for economy. All other are bad. In which case this kind of inflation may happen. Inflation बहुत important topic है. It is linked to everything, so you must understand these things properly. In which what kind of situation may lead to this? See, suppose in case of war, तो war के केस में inflation increases or decreases? Increases. Why? हाँ? Demand, but एक सेकंड. In case of war, demand increases. Why? See, in case of war, what happens? A lot of things get destroyed. Output is less. A lot of things get destroyed. Factories may stop working. Output is less. You have money. Less output, more money, inflation increases. In case of war. In case of corruption, government is releasing more money. It is not creating infrastructure or something, it is reaching into the hands of public. See what happens, money supply chasing the output. If output is also increasing, money supply also increasing, it will not result in inflation. But if government released funds, output didn't increase and money reached to the in the pocket of the people. ठीक है, so money supply increased more proportional to the output, it increases inflation. That happened in case of UPA last 2-3 years. 2G scam, Commonwealth Games. So scams, more money reached to the system, plus a lot of supply side issues. Government blocked a lot of clearances, forest, environment, land. So supply also got affected. More money reached to the public. It resulted in higher inflation. So this can happen in case of war, corruption, galloping inflation. And this is basically an extreme case of this. This is basically an extreme case of this. Now Venezuela may it is around 200%, 300% sometime back, then few days news came ki 1,000,000%. Okay. Now if it crosses 200-300%, it can be anything, it can move to 1 crore, 1 lakh percentage, anything. And one of the main reason is corruption also, and supply is getting affected. Corruption is one of the most important reason there, plus supply also getting affected. Now here people are willing to keep money in banks, and here what they want to do with the money? So here if you have money, you save in banks, because banks offer you deposit rate higher than the inflation rate. Here you are not willing to keep money in banks because banks don't offer you deposit rate higher than the inflation rate. So here what do you do with the money? You नहीं, घर में रखोगे आप. तो जब पैसा घर में रख रहे हो 100 रुपया and inflation is 50%, you are losing money. So what you do is, no, there will be money, there will be money. In case of this, you start doing hoarding of goods. Hoarding करना शुरू करते हो. And when you start doing hoarding, prices further increases. You don't keep money in cash. If you are keeping, okay, so answer one question. You are holding 100 rupees cash. You are holding 100 rupees cash. What is the nominal interest rate? कैश पे nominal interest rate is 0%. समझ रहे हो ना आप लोग? You are holding 100 rupees cash and prices are increasing by 20%. Prices are increasing by 20%. Real return? Minus 20%. You are holding 100 rupees cash and price increased by 20%. The value of your money declined by 20%. So you are holding cash, prices are increasing by 20%. Nominal return? सुनो ध्यान आराम से, 1 मिनट 2 मिनट टाइम दो, रिलैक्स. You are holding 100 rupees cash and prices are increasing by 20%. Nominal return? ये माइनस कौन बोल रहा है भाई? You are holding cash, nominal return will always be 0 ना? कौन बोला माइनस? बताओ, हाथ खड़ा करो. समझ नहीं रहे हो भाई? If you are holding cash, तो 100 rupee note will remain 100 rupee note. You are not getting any nominal return. ये तो मैं कंफ्यूज करने के लिए पूछा था कि देखें समझ रहे हो नहीं समझ रहे हो. ऐसे ही you are holding cash, nominal return will always be 0. Prices are increasing by 20%. So your money is losing value. So your money is losing value by what percentage? 20%. So we say that the real return is minus 20%. 80% is real return. It will become 80 rupees, but if someone will ask you what is the return, you will say minus 20%. If you are holding 100 rupees cash and prices are decreasing by 5%. You are holding 100 rupees cash and prices are decreasing by 5%. Real return? Plus 5%. Real return plus 5%. In this case, banks don't offer you deposit rate higher than the inflation rate, so you will not keep money in bank. If you will hold cash, you are getting positive return or negative return? Negative real return. So you don't want to hold cash also. So in this case, you start holding goods. आप hoarding करने लगते हो, and when you start doing hoarding, prices further increases. That is why you don't know when it touches in double digit where this inflation will go. People will start doing hoarding. It can go to anywhere, because 2 months back the Venezuela inflation was, they were quoting 200%, and 1 week or 10 days back they quoted 1,000,000% inflation, 10 lakh%. मार्केट से पैसे निकालने पड़ेंगे इन द सेंस मार्केट जब हाइपर इन्फ्लेशन का केस होता है तो मनी सप्लाई निकालने से बहुत कुछ नहीं होता. व्हेन पीपल स्टार्ट होर्डिंग देन इट कैन टच एनी लेवल. It can touch any level as such.
How it is possible to be like 1,000,000% or something like this? Because today 8 price is 8 rupees and tomorrow 10 lakh 8 rupees.
They are saying ki inflation 1,000,000%. They didn't say wheat prices. Overall increase. So some product prices may increase from 1 rupees to 500 rupees. So there is huge volatility in prices basically. It may be possible that tomorrow the news report says 1,000%. Because when it crosses double digit, it can be anything. It becomes highly volatile. You can't say as such. And there is huge corruption and hoarding of goods. So like salt का एक बार आया था न्यूज ना, salt demonetization के बाद. So कहीं तो वो around 400 rupees kg में बिक रहा था. 400 kg में बिका था ना. अभी नॉर्मल प्राइस कितना है? 20. So 20 से 400, the inflation is suppose 420. So the inflation is 400 divided by 20 into 100%. कितना हो गया? 2000%. ऐसे ही होता है. That generally happens in case of hoarding. Of course, who said beneficial? I said this is bad for economy. This is also bad for, only this is good for economy.
For example, if I want to purchase 10 gram gold, it's 30,000. Right now the prices are 30,000.
Right.
So you will try to accumulate gold.
Right.
After some time, the gold price will obviously come down.
After some time. See that long term. So.
Your gold will lose the value.
Right. So that's why in case of this situation, it may go up too much, it may come too down. So those who are doing hoarding, they should be very cautious. Those who are doing hoarding, they are more lured that they will make money. Some really make money and some lose a lot of money. So that's what I am saying ki some people they start hoarding thinking that they will make money because prices are increasing. But actually some people make money and some lose a lot of money. Some people may just be willing to hold cash, but generally in case when the prices are increasing by 20%, rather than holding cash, you should always purchase something. Of course, if the prices will start declining, then you lose. But when it is increasing 20%, 30%, generally people try to hold thinking that they will make money. They may lose, of course they can lose if the price comes down. डिपेंड करता नाउ. फिर उसके बाद ये लॉजिक देन डजंट वर्क. उसके बाद ना वो स्पेकुलेटिव एक्टिविटीज इंक्रीज हो जाती हैं इकोनॉमी में. कॉजेज ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन. डिमांड पुल, cost push or supply shock. Demand pull, you write a statement. This kind of inflation arises when the aggregate demand, this kind of inflation arises when the aggregate demand in the economy increases more rapidly. This kind of inflation arises when the aggregate means total. When the aggregate demand in the economy increases more rapidly as compared to the productive capacity of the economy. आते हैं. This kind of inflation arises when the aggregate demand in the economy, total demand in the economy increases more rapidly as compared to the productive capacity of the economy. हाँ, क्या डाउट था, पूछो आप. Why? बाहर पूछना चाहते हो? ये समझ लो, तब सोच लो, अपना फ्रेम कर लो क्वेश्चन, वी विल डिस्कस दैट. अच्छा, ऐसे रिलैक्स होकर सोचते हो तो जब भी कुछ पॉपअप करता है तुरंत थ्रो करते हो, देख लो, ये समझ लो, देन यू आस्क दिस थिंग. ठीक है. What it means is, अच्छा, first thing, give an example. So this is a kind of inflation, causes of inflation. Tell me a product where you are facing this kind of inflation. You, huh? What? House rent. Good. So house rent में what happened? Demand has increased a lot for houses and supply we have not been able to increase. यूपी में सुना था ना ये एग्जाम्पल? नहीं. So demand pull inflation means demand increases more and we are not able to increase the supply. We are not able to increase the supply. Any other example? पेट्रोल का प्राइसेस कहाँ इंक्रीज हो रहा है? आपकी बुलेट ज्यादा कंज्यूम करती है, दैट्स अनदर थिंग. उसका कंजम्पशन ज्यादा है, प्राइस इंक्रीज नहीं हो रहा पेट्रोल का. ठीक है. इफ यू फील कि पेट्रोल में इन्फ्लेशन है, देन स्विच योर बाइक रादर देन सेइंग कि पेट्रोल में इन्फ्लेशन. पेट्रोल प्राइसेस आर ऑलमोस्ट सेम सिंस लास्ट 2 months, है ना? और कोई एग्जांपल? हाँ, 3-4 years back he is saying कि pulses prices increased to around 200 rupees. Do you think it was a demand pull inflation? 3 years back pulses ज्यादा खाने लगे थे आप लोग या इंडियंस? देन वो सप्लाई साइड फैक्टर था. इसमें आप लिखो कॉस्ट पुश और सप्लाई साइड. दिस काइंड ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन अराइजेज, दिस कॉस्ट पुश और सप्लाई साइड, दिस काइंड ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन अराइजेज because of increase in cost of production. This kind of inflation arises because of increase in cost of production, or there is any supply side bottleneck, or there is any supply side bottleneck. Supply side issue, supply side bottleneck. ठीक है. So in that year, 3 years back, our production of pulses was less, so there was problem in supply side. Suppose oil prices increased and we are importing oil, and oil is used for a lot of transportation. So if then prices increases, that is because oil is used in a lot of transportation production factors. So if because of increase in oil prices in India, prices are increasing, it is cost push because of increase in cost of production. Suppose rentals here increases and coaching fees increases, that will be cost push, because our if SR private limited cost will increase, they will increase the prices. ठीक है. In case of housing, the thing is, the cause is demand pull. The cause is demand pull. So demand pull, cost push, you can always segregate this. If the interest rates in the economy is hardening मतलब increase हो रहा है. If the interest rates in the economy is hardening, then businessmen के लिए it will be costly to borrow money, and they may increase the price of the product. Cost push or demand pull? Cost push. Cost push. ठीक है, तो ये समझ गए दोनों. हाँ, क्या डाउट था आपको, बताओ आपका. गवर्नमेंट हाँ होगा. आप बताओ. गवर्नमेंट गिव सब्सिडीज. गवर्नमेंट इज सपोज गवर्नमेंट पीएम किसान में गवर्नमेंट स्टार्ट्स गिविंग ₹6,000 मंथली. ठीक है, तो इन्फ्लेशन तो होगा. व्हाट काइंड ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन? डिमांड पुल, कॉस्ट पुश? डिमांड पुल भाई. मोर मनी इज रीचिंग टू यू, योर डिमांड इंक्रीज्ड. मोर मनी गवर्नमेंट इज गिविंग इट टू यू, डिमांड पुल. डिमांड मीन्स हुएवर, देखो इन्फ्लेशन मीन्स प्रोडक्ट प्राइस है इंक्रीजिंग. हुएवर इज डिमांडिंग दैट प्रोडक्ट. Whoever is demanding that product, if the demand is increasing, price will increase.
Stop subsidies.
Stop. मैं समझा नहीं. स्टॉप
सर अगर हम स्टॉप कर देते हैं सब्सिडी देना तो वो क्या
अगर सब्सिडीज प्रोडक्ट पे सब्सिडी, इफ यू आर स्टॉपिंग, सो इफ यू आर स्टॉपिंग द सब्सिडीज ऑन प्रोडक्ट, the demand for that product will reduce. तो वही एक कोई एग्जांपल बताओ. आई विल आंसर योर क्वेश्चन. कोई एग्जांपल बताओ. अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट क्या ज्यादा आज दिन भर में पढ़ लिया? आप लोग का एंथू डाउन लग रहा है, क्या बात है? हाँ, कौन कौन लोग इसके पहले ऑलरेडी क्लास करके आए हैं यहाँ पे? अच्छा, ओके. बिकॉज टीचर्स एंथुजियाज्म डिपेंड्स ऑन द स्टूडेंट्स, है ना. तो आप लोग एंथू में रहा करो. एंथू में डजंट मीन कि सो रहे हो और जब मैंने किया तो एक डाउट पूछ दिए. अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. सो हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू थिंक यू आर अनएम्प्लॉयड? यू आर नॉट अनएम्प्लॉयड. ठीक है, सो डोंट थिंक ऑफ योरसेल्फ एज यू आर अनएम्प्लॉयड. labor force. Are you part of labor force? You are part of labor force or not? No, you are not part of labor force. Assuming that you are not doing a job. बताते हैं ना. उसके पहले आप एक क्वेश्चन बताओ. पता तो चले कि बस रिलैक्स होके सुन रहे हो या समझ भी रहे हो आप। If in India inflation is increasing, if in India inflation is increasing means price of goods and services is increasing, how it will impact rupee dollar rate? It will impact or not impact? पहले ये बताओ। It will impact or not? So in which way it will impact? सुन, एक मिनट सोचने का टाइम देते हैं। प्राइसेज इन इंडिया इज इंक्रीजिंग, हाउ इट विल इम्पैक्ट रूपी डॉलर रेट? एक मिनट सोच लो एंड देन आई विल एक्सेप्ट योर आंसर। कॉपी पेन लेके सोच सकते हो आप। एक मिनट अभी हुआ नहीं, सोच लो आप, सोच लो। अच्छा रिपीट, if price in India is increasing, there is more inflation, how it will impact rupee dollar rate?
Dollar appreciates.
So how many of you think rupee will depreciate? Okay, हाँ, of course rupee. And why do you think rupee will depreciate?
इन्फ्लेशन इंक्रीज मतलब होगा तो फिर एक्सपोर्ट आपका स्लो होगा और फिर मतलब उसके कारण आपका मतलब।
और कोई?
सर मतलब अगर इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ेगा तो हम जो रुपीज से पहले बास्केट ऑफ गुड्स खरीद पा रहे थे ज़्यादा हमको चाहिए होगा, तो
Right.
वैल्यू ऑफ रुपीज भी खरीदेंगे, तो इट विल डिप्रिशिएट।
Good. See, right now dollar one, हाँ देखो, when dollar one is equal to rupees 70 है, so they sell dollar one, they get rupees 70 and rupees 70 they purchase certain things. They are willing to accept rupees 70 because they have in mind in rupees 70 how much they can purchase. If now the same commodity, suppose in rupees 70 they are purchasing certain things in India, now to purchase the same commodity, if they will have to pay 100 rupees, if they will have to pay 100 rupees, then they will demand 100 rupees in $1. Rupee का what is the use of the rupee? Rupee का use क्या होता है? To purchase goods and services. So if inflation in India is more, that means rupee has lost value. And if rupee has lost value, that means now in $1 they will demand more rupees. And एक ये logic है. The second logic which is, I said कि inflation, that means rupee lost value. So rupee lost value means rupee lost value in terms of goods and services. ध्यान सुनना, rupee lost value in terms of goods and services. That means you need to pay more rupee to get same goods and services. So rupee inflation means rupee lost value. So if rupee lost value, you need to pay more rupees to purchase the same goods. You need to pay, since rupee lost value, so now you will have to pay more rupees to get $1 also. This logic. हाँ, that is a further step. That is a further step. उसका impact consequence है. So inflation हुआ, rupee lost value. So now they will demand more rupees. If there is inflation, the demand for our goods will reduce, and that will reduce the demand of rupee. That also leads to rupee depreciation. Both ways. Both ways होता है. लेबर फोर्स एम्प्लॉयड प्लस अनएम्प्लॉयड, और ये सब चीज आपके दिमाग में ऐसे भी सोचते रहा करो, ये नहीं कि जब हम पूछेंगे तभी सोचोगे आप. These are such topics, first, second and third topic, नहीं कि इसमें आपको a lot of thinking is required on your end. आप सोचो, then you will get confused, then you will ask your doubts, then this concept gets clarified. हमने भी ऐसे ही सीखा है. No one has taught this thing. ये ध्यान रखना आप लोग. ये मत सोचना कि MBA में हमें ये चीज पढ़ाया गया, कभी नहीं पढ़ाया गया. ठीक है, समझ गए आप? MBA में भी स्टडीड हायर माइक्रो इकोनॉमिक थ्योरी, जो कि ऑप्शनल का सिलेबस है, दैट आई हैव फॉरगॉटन. ठीक है, दिस एवरीवन लर्न्स बाय सेल्फ प्रैक्टिसिंग. हाँ, सम टीचर मे हेल्प यू, बट प्रैक्टिस आपको खुद करनी है. चीज लिंकिंग ऑफ इट. लेबर फोर्स एम्प्लॉयड प्लस अनएम्प्लॉयड. अनएम्प्लॉयड मीन्स नॉट इन जॉब बट एक्टिवली. दिस वर्ड इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. नाउ you guys are suppose not employed, but you are not unemployed also. Unemployed means you are actively searching for job. Now I know that you are not actively searching for job. Actively searching for job means you are willing to take up any job which is available at your skill level. At your skill level. Now most of you, the skills not much relevant. ठीक है, so whatever is your skill, suppose you are a normal graduate. नॉर्मल ग्रेजुएट हो, सो आपको लिखने पढ़ने आता है, एंड यू कैन राइट मेल और जो भी है. सो व्हाट एवर इज योर स्किल, आर यू विलिंग टू, सपोज एट योर स्किल लेवल 12,000 या 15,000 रुपए की जॉब मिल रही है, क्या रिसेप्शन पे कॉल हैंडल समथिंग, आर यू विलिंग टू टेक दैट? नो. दैट इज वाई इट इज सेड दैट कि यू आर नॉट अनएम्प्लॉयड. अनएम्प्लॉयड मीन्स you are searching for a job and you are willing to take up a job whichever is available at your skill level in the market. So you are not actively searching for a job, you are preparing for a particular exam as such. ठीक है, मान लो आपके स्किल लेवल पे 10,000 की जॉब मिल रही है, तो क्या आप पढ़ाई ये तैयारी छोड़ के जॉब करना चाहोगे? अगर ऐसा है और ऐसा आप कर रहे हो और मुझे बता नहीं रहे हो, then you may be unemployed, but you are not actively searching for a job available at your skill level. So you are not part of labor force. So these are not part of labor force. These are not part of labor force. Out of this, those people who are either employed or actively searching, they are part of labor. You are here only 15 to 60, but you are not employed, you are not actively searching for a job, so you are not part of labor force. So out of this population, only those who are either in job or not in job but searching for a job, they are called labor force, part of labor force. बाकी लोग इंडियंस हैं, बाकी लोग दे आर नॉट पार्ट ऑफ लेबर. बाकी वो इंडियन है, सिटीजन है, जी रहे हैं, सांस ले रहे हैं. हाँ, चलिए, आपका डाउट क्या था? हाँ, डिपेंडेंट है.
हम लोग किस क्लास में जा
बता दो कि यू आर इंडियंस, यू आर डिपेंडेंट, बट ट्रस्ट मी, ये कंडीशन ज्यादा बेटर है रादर देन बीइंग इंडिपेंडेंट. ठीक है, आपको बाद में रियलाइज होगा. टाइप्स ऑफ अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. Structural unemployment, right statement. Unemployment arising due to change in technology. Unemployment arising due to change in technology, comma, change in government policy. Change in technology, change in government policy, comma, people not willing to move to locations, people not willing to move to locations where jobs are available. People not willing to move to locations where jobs are available. So these three categories are called as structural unemployment. So Suppose change in technology. Now when computers came, a lot of people who were doing hand jobs, handwritten, writing jobs, then they lost jobs. That was structural unemployment. If suppose government says, suppose automation, now a lot of automation is happening. Now if the people are not able to upgrade their skills and a factory automates its jobs, they will lose the jobs. Structural unemployment. There are a lot of jobs available in Maharashtra, Gujarat, and there are a lot of unemployed people in UP, Bihar, Odisha. But they are not willing to migrate to Maharashtra, maybe because of social reasons, or maybe they think that if they will move there, whatever they will earn, it will be gone into rent and other things. So they are not willing to migrate. So we have jobs, but people are not willing to migrate. Structural unemployment. And there is a very basic characteristic of structural unemployment. In case of structural unemployment, there are jobs available also. In case of structural unemployment, there are jobs available also, and there are unemployed people also. In case of structural unemployment, there are jobs available also, and there are unemployed people also. Because there is a mismatch between, what employers are looking for. There is a mismatch between what employers are looking for, what skills employers are looking for. There is a mismatch between what skills employers are looking for and what skills labor force possesses, and what skills the labor possesses. So there is a mismatch. What employers are looking for and what the unemployed people have. For example, right now there are a lot of jobs in India in data analytics, artificial intelligence, and there are a lot of unemployed people also, but they cannot be absorbed in that. So there is a mismatch of skills. There is a mismatch of skills. Skill India. And China has been able to create a lot of jobs because Chinese government has taken a lot of effort in imparting skills. Okay. We have not been able to improve or upgrade the skills of our labor forces. So we have huge unemployment. Cyclical unemployment. You write unemployment arising due to business cycles downturn, recession. Unemployment arising due to business cycles downturn, that is recession. So this leads to cyclical unemployment. So when there is recession or slowdown, output reduces, companies lay off their workers, unemployment increases. Third is seasonal. सीजनल अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. अच्छा, नोटिफिकेशन आ गया आप लोग का ना? इस बार सीट्स तो बढ़ गई हैं पिछले बार से, 100 अराउंड 900, एंड एग्जाम इज ऑन 2nd. सिलेबस रिमेन सेम. अच्छा, नेक्स्ट ईयर से दैट विल बी एप्लीकेबल. बहुत सेंसिटिव टॉपिक है, डोंट रेज हियर. Seasonal unemployment. Seasonal unemployment means the labor remains unemployed for the same season, same time period every year. The labor remains unemployed for the same season. The labor remains unemployed for the same season or period every year. So what is the difference between this? Is because of economic activity slow down, and this is always, even if the economic activity is up, we can have seasonal unemployment. This is fixed, same time period every year, and this you can't predict as such. Then fourth is frictional. frictional unemployment. Frictional unemployment means, so I was doing job in Bangalore, software coding, Java and C++. So I had to come in Diwali November 2004. So my leaves were approved, but 1 week before Diwali my boss cancelled my leaves. He said कि project में बहुत काम है and blah blah. So I said कि I will do all this work once, let me come back after Diwali, क्योंकि मूड बन चुका था दिवाली में जाने. But then he said कि नहीं it's बहुत ज़्यादा काम है. अब एक बार मूड बन जाता है तो फिर कहाँ किसकी सुनते हैं. So I resigned there. ठीक है. So and then I thought कि ये तो हर साल का किचकिच रहेगा यार कि बेंगलोर टू वाराणसी, भाई बेंगलोर टू दिल्ली फ्लाइट से, फिर दिल्ली से यहाँ, और अभी की तरह चीपर नहीं थी फ्लाइट्स 2004 में. देयर वाज वेरी लेस कंपटीशन. अभी तो यू कैन फ्लाई इन रुपीज, इफ यू बुक बिफोर 1 month तो 2500. उड़ान नहीं इसमें, हु सेड उड़ान? 2500 3000 में. एट दैट टाइम इट वाज 10,000 rupees. At that time it was 10,000 and after that again from Delhi to Varanasi. So I said कि हर साल का ही किचकिच होगा. So I resigned from the job. I came to Delhi and then I started looking for a new job here. So it took around 1.5 months for me to find a new job. So for that मैं अपनी कहानी नहीं सुना रहा हूँ, ठीक है, और ज़्यादा इमोशनल होने की जरूरत नहीं हमारे अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट पे, ठीक है. So for that 1.5 months I was frictionally unemployed, frictional unemployment. ठीक है. Unemployment arising due to people moving between jobs. Unemployment arising due to people moving between jobs, comma location, comma career is called frictional unemployment. See, there is a new trend that people do 4-5 years of job, then they resign, they relax, and then they again start searching for a new job. ठीक है. So when you are actively searching for a job, why? Because you left previous job, you are moving to a new location, you are switching careers, and then you are not able to find job. So you are frictionally unemployed. ठीक है. Disguised unemployment. Disguised unemployment. इसका बस आप एक ही स्टेटमेंट लिख लो, मार्जिनल प्रोडक्टिविटी ऑफ लेबर इज 0. ये तो हमने हाँ डिस्गाइज्ड अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट में हमने मार्जिनल प्रोडक्टिविटी समझाया है ना. हाँ, मार्जिनल प्रोडक्टिविटी ऑफ लेबर इज 0. That means there are too much of laborers involved into job, but they are not effectively increasing the production. They are not required, they are just involved because they don't have any other job. Disguised unemployment. Productivity, production will remain same. Production will remain same. And if you remove the laborers, productivity of labor will increase होगी. If you remove laborers, production upon labor, now less labor, per labor productivity increased. Achha, if there is more unemployment is high, that when unemployment is high, still some people will be employed. And people, so when unemployment is high, then the people who are employed, their salary will increase more or less? Less, generally less, because when a lot of people are unemployed, those who are employed, the employer will not give high salary, because if they will demand high salary, there are other people who are willing to work at a lesser wages. If there are a lot of unemployed people, they are willing to work at lesser wages. So those who are employed, the employer don't increase their salary much also. And if there is huge unemployment, what you can say about prices, inflation? Inflation will be high or less? Less. Because if people are unemployed, they don't have money. So inflation is less. So if we plot a curve of unemployment and inflation, unemployment and inflation, 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, 6%. So if unemployment is high, that means more people are unemployed, they don't have money, they can't purchase goods. So prices will be, inflation will be less. So if unemployment is high, inflation will be less here. And if unemployment is less, that means more people are employed. That means more people if unemployment is less, more people are employed, inflation will be. This is called Phillips curve. So Phillips curve gives the relationship of inflation and unemployment, and the relationship is inverse. Relationship is inverse. So, and ये ध्यान रखना कि inflation is dependent on unemployment. Unemployment is not dependent on inflation. So, keeping all the things constant, if unemployment increases, inflation will decrease. But if inflation is decreasing, you can't say anything about unemployment as such. ठीक है? So inflation is a function of unemployment. If unemployment will change, inflation will change. Y axis, x axis, समझे हो ना? So y is a function of x. So if x varies, y varies. You can't say vice versa. So here inflation is a function of unemployment. ठीक है? And there is a further concept behind above it. देखो ये तो inflation employment का Phillips curve है. Now there is a further concept. क्या है? जैसे suppose right now there is some inflation in India. So suppose this is India, we are producing some output and we are getting some wages. So this wages is changing that output. है ना? So there is some output. We are producing some output, we are getting some wages, and this wage is changing the output. So certain level of output, certain level of wages. Next year, if because of our increase in experience and productivity, next year, if we increase the output by 10%, if we increase the output by 10%, why? Because of our experience learning curve. So this year some price, some money and changing the output. Next year we increase the output by 10%. If the employer will increase your wages by 15%, it will result in inflation. So your wages should be increased as per the increase in productivity. So this year some output, some wages you are getting. Next year, if you, because of your increase in productivity, you increase output by 10%, your wages should increase by 10%. If your wages will increase more, it will result in higher inflation. So wages either in government or private sector should be increased with respect to the increase in productivity and production. ठीक है? So whenever employers increase more wages, it results in higher inflation. And that is why government employees, when they demand more wages, their wages should also be linked with productivity. So every year productivity is increasing maybe 5-10%, their wages should be increased that, otherwise it results in higher inflation. So and pay commission revision, they look into this thing. ऐसा नहीं कि whatever someone says they can increase this. So they are also bound by this productivity increment. समझ गए? अच्छा, दिस आईबीसी एंड सिक्योरिटी सरफेसी ये सब हम लोग बाद में करेंगे. वंस यू हैव सम एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ हाउ दिस इकोनॉमी हैज फंक्शन सो फार, टैक्स वैक्स का नॉलेज आएगा. तो ये टॉपिक एक साथ ही जो है सरफेसी एक्ट, दिस इकोनॉमिक ऑफेंडर्स एक्ट एंड आईबीसी, ये सब हम लोग बाद में करेंगे. ठीक है. और कल प्लीज आप लोग क्वेश्चन पेपर लेते आना, वो डिस्कस नहीं हुआ है ना. हाँ, तो आप लोग क्वेश्चन पेपर लेते आना. तो पहले हम लोग कल क्लास करेंगे एंड देन विल डिस्कस द क्वेश्चन पेपर. और या अभी भी आप पढ़ना चाहते हो? आज या कल? इस बार कल आएगा.